We're back!
We're back! I mean, it's been, let's be honest, everybody's crying it out. It's been too long.
It has been far too long. We had a little summer special though. We returned for a summer special where we went to Yobbo's at the end of the summer school.
Ben.
What?
This isn't nice, is it? This pink and orange combo
no,
I've got going on here.
It's an interesting
If anyone's
combo.
not watching on video, I am wearing a pink fleecy top and sitting on an orange sofa, and it's making me feel a bit sick.
Yes. Well, you could have wore your big coat because it is freezing.
It is. And if there's a slight noise in the background on the podcast today, that's the small heater at our feet.
Yes, we do have a heater.
A fajita. A fajita. It is.
There it is. We do have a heater, so we do apologise if there is an odd noise.
Humming
usually that's
noise.
just Gill.
Yeah,
the odd noise. But usually the odd noise is Gill, but this time we've got a heater. How have you been, Gill?
Benjamin Coleman, I have been okay, been really busy work-wise, double jobbing, about to come to an end and go back to having only one job and some consultancy stuff to do, which will be fab.
Lovely.
But yeah, it's been really interesting, and said goodbye to lots of people at work, which is very sad, but they were all lovely, and we had a good party and lots of booze, and that makes me happy, as you know.
Always
as you know,
makes you happy.
The booze part. How about yourself? How's it back at school? COVID central or not COVID central?
Not for me, luckily.
Yeah.
I've been all right.
You've done it. You've done your
I've been there. I've got your
T-shirt.
I've got the T-shirt
for
going to hospital. But yeah, no. I mean, it's odd because it effectively is like normal.
Yeah.
You know, everything's pretty much the same. But then every sort of day or so I get an email or two telling me that someone's isolating. You know, it's definitely, we knew it was always going to be a problem as schools go back.
Yeah.
But
it's the same in the
tricky.
workplace. It's kind of, the government have gone, do what you like, and actually you can't really do exactly what you like because you put people at too much risk.
Exactly.
It's a balance, isn't it? It's a bit of a balance.
It is, and obviously as well as work life sort of feeling a bit more normal, things like rehearsals are feeling a bit more normal again, in terms of we're back in the studio, which we were obviously towards the end of last season of the podcast. Season of the podcast.
We've got Bodycut show coming up in November.
Yeah, I've got my school show coming up in November as well, the week before I think your one. So that is exciting to have another show coming up. Yeah. Just keeping everything crossed that nobody gets COVID right before the show.
Or for my show at Bodycut, that if someone gets COVID, it's a part I want to do.
It's the part you can play. Well, it's the same with the concert.
I could do any of them, Ben. I could do the tiny child part right up to the grown-up part.
Well, we're ready with the same with our concert at school because it's obviously all songs from musicals. And someone said the other day, "Are you going to have understudies?" Because I was like, "No. There's 3 of us in the department. We're ready to do it." And they're like, "But then you have 130 kids in the cast." I'm like, "No, we will do it. They don't need them to be understudies. We will do it." And now I'm just hoping. No, it's good.
It's like they'd start doing chickenpox parties, didn't they? Where if you get the bad ones in a room and you get someone with COVID in.
The bad ones? I didn't mean because they were bad. I meant just because I want to do their part.
Yeah, Ben, whatever. We know you school teacher types.
We had a lot to pick from 130 kids, to be fair. But yeah, so it's nice to sort of be doing those things, but just with an air of caution.
Yeah.
You know, tickets for our show, Robin Hood. They're rehearsing next door. You may hear them every so often. They're doing a number from the show.
They are.
The tickets for that went on sale, so that's nice to see those creeping up. People want to come and see shows. So
it's the beard. I feel that's what's probably sold the tickets. Is I'm on the poster with a beard. Yeah.
You are on the poster with a beard. I'm on the poster. We're both at different genders.
Yes, we've switched.
I'm on, as always. I am on the poster in a wonderful pink wig and a bedpan on my head.
Quite right.
Just because. Why not?
It was a Tuesday.
It's a fashion choice. It's a statement.
Very good.
But yeah, should we go straight into our topic of?
Say it.
I was going to say it now, I realised we were about to sing. Okay, so time to talk about our topic of the week.
Topic of the week. Topic of the week. Of the week. Oh, how I have missed the jingle.
I have not. But never mind. So today, for our first episode back of the season, we're going to talk about drama in sort of education establishments rather than amateur theatre, and what the differences are, and what we can learn and what they can take, and all those sort of things basically. Yeah. Not a real specific statement.
And we're going to have one of our cast members joining us later to talk about his experience of drama in education as well.
Exactly.
So that'll be super fun. So Ben,
yes,
my experience of drama in education, I mean, let's be really honest, it's quite elderly. It's quite a long time ago that I did drama in education. A bit of school, bit at uni, but I didn't ever study. I never done no studying of drama. So
didn't study English either, by the sound of it.
Never done none. No, I just did sciences.
You
to be honest, sciences and maths. It's all I'm good for.
Yeah.
So I'm going to lean heavily on you, not physically
because
of COVID. But in terms of your experience of drama in schools, obviously I've got a daughter who's doing GCSE drama as well, so that's helpful. But what's it like being a drama teacher in a school?
Well, I love it because it's obviously the subject I have a passion for and enjoy performing. It is very different, I think, than what people perhaps assume in terms of,
I've not got COVID, by the way. It's cold.
She's just got a cold. That's why she's
my nose is running.
Doing her nose. It's very different from when you're like running a drama group or you're running a workshop, say, because there's a lot more and more, unfortunately, because of what the government say. There's more and more theory involved.
Right.
It used to be that to get your grade, performance and written were obviously combined, but performance would be the heaviest part. Now it's the other way round. The written, so you could be the most amazing performer, but if you can't write about it, if you can't answer those questions and sort of put that vision in your head onto paper, then unfortunately you might get a low mark, which is a real shame, and it puts people quite a bit down, and those that would be amazing performers who would thrive in a practical environment like a drama school might not get the grades to get in, and that's quite sad. That's quite sad sometimes, and you really have to push them. And
so some schools have more of a kind of vocational pathway kind of thing, or colleges as well.
Yeah.
Is that the same? Is it still that balance, or is there?
No, I think it's a bit different there. I mean, so you some places obviously you do a BTEC, and a BTEC is a bit more practical in terms of what it is, and which is great, and there's a lot more evidence based. But unfortunately, it's this stigma about BTECs, which I don't get. I think BTECs are brilliant, personally. So it is slightly different there. So if you're doing the BTEC, you will have a bit more practical base. But if you're doing a GCSE, which to get to the BTEC you need to do, but this is because that's the issue. If you don't do well at GCSE, then some BTEC courses might not take you.
Okay.
So it's really, really tricky, and you have to sort of, because obviously at Key Stage 3, at years 7, 8, and sometimes 7, 8 and 9, depending on the school, they sort of do a lot more practical. They love the practical. They pick the subject, but you have to really be mindful of saying you just need to be aware that there is.
A lot of written stuff.
I know at least one exam board, I remember being told that there is more written in GCSE drama than GCSE law or A-level law.
Oh,
sorry,
goodness.
Which is like, that's mad when you think of it like that.
Yeah.
But yeah, so it's an interesting challenge.
And I think when we talk to Alfie, who'll be joining us later, he's just another transition point. So he's thinking about what next after sort of sixth form.
Yeah.
So it's quite such a broad choice now, isn't it? As well, that's the interesting thing too. It's not all kind of, we've mentioned it before on previous podcasts, that the different pathways people can take to get to the same places are so multiple. Oh! Excuse me.
We'll have a pause in the podcast.
Pause in the podcast. See my sister, she can go away. It's fine. Carry on, podcast.
Just so unprofessional. I'm so sorry. See, if we were in a school, I'd be confiscating that.
Yeah.
But it's as you say, it is interesting.
It's a good job I didn't have to answer it and didn't know who it was. I'd have to have done my posh voice, and then everyone would have known that I'm not doing my posh voice.
I mean, I maybe would have cut it. I might not have left it.
Oh, you could have left in there.
Depends what you were saying.
Joe Crowther speaking. That's Joe Crowther speaking. Do you want me to pretend? Do you want a phone?
No. I feel that's not as interesting.
Step too far. What were we saying?
We were saying about drama
pathways.
On that, what I was going to say before we were rudely interrupted is there are a lot more sort of drama schools now in terms of after A-level. And I was actually helping a student this week, just at the end of last week, looking at what pathways and what different schools there are. And there are so many. There's even more from when I was around that age and thinking what I wanted to do in my life. There's even more, and there's even more options. It's expensive is the other thing, obviously, at the moment. And I think people have to really think about why they want to go to, if they want to go to drama school, why? Because if the answer is, well, I want to be in the West End, well, obviously, first of all, you have to have a bit of a reality check. You need to make sure that you know the struggle of that and how tough it is. Don't go into it thinking it's easy. And obviously certain schools are probably better for that. If you want specific types of training, or you want something that's a bit more focused on perhaps a specific style or Shakespeare or anything like that, then certain other schools are possibly better. So you do have to do your research. And the other thing that was interesting was looking at audition stages, which are at the moment obviously all virtual, which I think is really tricky.
Yeah.
You know, the first couple of rounds for most drama schools now, you have to send in a video, which is good in some ways because you get to film yourself. But
it reminds me, actually, I did think of another topic for maybe next week's podcast: self-tapes.
Oh, self-tapes, that'd be a good one.
Self-tapes.
We should do a self-tape podcast.
Is
Yeah,
that
we'll
right?
do that. We'll definitely do that. Yeah.
I guess Katie got a self-tape through, and it said you have to say who your agent is, where, how old you are, what your name is, where you live, what your local authority is, all the kind of normal stuff. Then it just wrote these words: hands and profile.
Like a handprint.
So you literally, so I looked it up. She literally had to do that and then turn that way in the ident. I don't know.
I can sort of get, okay, this is your face, but why would you have to show your hands?
I mean,
like you're about to do a magic trick.
For me, it's because mine are freakily large. I think I might get jobs that way if I just show my hands really.
Well, if you do it close to the camera, you will.
Yeah.
That is strange.
So self-tape. Let's do that.
We'll do a self.
Sorry,
self-tape.
I digress. Interesting though, because it is the last few weeks of kind of getting personal statements together for those people who are applying for university for next year. So it's probably quite so. The interesting thing on the personal statement is obviously my son's doing that at the moment, applying for geography, and it's a very big academic focus in how you write a personal statement. How do you write a personal statement when you're applying for drama?
It's a while ago since I had to write a personal statement for university.
And perhaps I should have warned you I was going to ask you, because I'm literally making it up.
I think it's that, I think it's quite similar, because again, if you're going to university to study, again, it's quite academic, so you have to talk about it's about, and it'll be the same with any UCAS application, so avoid the cliche. Yeah. We know you have a passion for drama. Yeah. We know you have a passion for theatre. I've been performing all my life. Yeah, okay. Yeah. We get that. Well, I'm saying we as if I'm reading the statements, but they get that. It's about selling yourself a bit more, what you've done, what you've achieved, and also sometimes I think it's about being able to recognise your flaws, because I think with drama schools in particular, they hate, and the one thing they do not want is a polished, finished product, because they have nothing to work with, and they'll have a specific way they want to train you. So they want to know perhaps the things that you want to work on, what your aims are. And that's the thing they'll ask you in interview often as well, and universities will ask you, because they want to know where they need to mould you more, perhaps. So I think I'd be interesting. I wonder if I can dig out my old UCAS statement for when I applied to uni. I mean, it's probably a bit different now, but yeah, I can't remember any of it really, but I know it has to be, all the things you've experienced. And this is why things like amateur theatre is so important, because you can talk about the variety of things you've done. And it's why it's important to be involved in groups, especially if you want to go to drama school, that don't just do musical theatre, for example. Yeah. This is why I like with ATC, we obviously do pantomimes, we do musicals, we do variety shows, we devise our own things, we do film. That is so much to write about, more than most. And actually just saying, I do musicals, well, if you're going for a straight acting course, they might go, okay, great, musical theatre though is very different than if you do a play. Yeah. So I think that's important to have those in amateur theatre world, to have that variety and to offer that variety and offer workshops and things like that. Don't just go, right, we're moving straight on to the next show, another musical. It could be, especially if you want to provide some sort of service and educate.
Excellent.
Yeah. But obviously, it is different being a teacher to that amateur theatre. It's a very different. The reason I do amateur theatre and the reason I do these groups people say, is it not too much?
Yeah, is it not more of the same?
Why would you want to get paid to do something all day and then come and do it for free in the evening? Well, it is different, it's a bit more relaxed, as it were, because there is an end goal, but it's not someone's grade.
Yeah, and also, I think particularly for Key Stage 3, people aren't necessarily making a choice at that point to be there. They're just being told they have to do the lesson, aren't they?
Well,
and hopefully here, when people have made an active choice to come and join, then they're up for it. We do know when we get on the wrong side of Ben, though, he does put the teacher Ben head on.
Oh, yeah.
And then we know to stop being naughty because he doesn't like being teacher.
I don't like being teacher. I have said that before. I'm like, I don't come here to be a teacher.
When you say you've said it before, you literally say it every week.
Every couple of weeks, I have to say I'm not here to be a teacher.
Every 5 minutes.
But no, I do. Well, yeah. But you're right in terms of there is a behaviour expectation at things like amateur theatre, and that's regardless, I think, of any age.
Yeah,
you have just a bit like if you were doing a GCSE or a grade, so they're shouting next door to do the choreography. Just like at school when you do have an end goal because you have a GCSE or a grade to get. Here we have an end goal, which is to put on a show. And actually, if it's not good enough, well, there's people's names on that programme. There's a group's reputation. I think, and this is the conversation we've had many times about, it's a hobby, but it's a hobby we're asking people to pay for. So we have to have some sort of professionalism to get to that end goal. So yes, sometimes I have to be teaching.
Sometimes we both have to be a little bit teaching.
We have to be a little bit strict.
A little bit strict.
Especially with the younger ones, sometimes with the older ones. But
mostly with the adults.
Yeah, but as long as everyone's here having a good time and we're all, working towards that same goal, then we should be fine. And that goes for any group, really.
Brilliant. Well, shall we introduce our first guest of the season, young man?
First guest of the season. So we are welcoming someone who was on the podcast at the end of
in the
summer special.
Yes, he was.
He featured on there. He's in our current show, Robin Hood. Please welcome, and he said to the stage. Please welcome to the podcast, Alfie.
Alfie. Good clap.
Thank you. Yes,
he's very eager to
strong. Very strong.
Yes. Welcome, Alfie.
Thank you very much.
To the podcast.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, so we were saying you've actually technically been on the podcast already.
I have, for a very short period of time.
You were a brief
I think you might have been a little hungover.
A little bit, yes. It was, a little bit.
It was interesting. To be honest, it was better than your Treading the Boards jingle that you do. But yes, we've probably seen you in a more
normal
light, fresh faced light. Did you enjoy Yobbos and take part in that?
Of course, yes. It was probably the highlight of my summer. Yeah. Coming straight off COVID and bashing that out was
you had
amazing.
COVID right before, didn't you?
Yeah.
Brilliant.
Yeah, which was scary for a while, I remember.
It was, yeah. Luckily it was
more for him than
yeah.
I was like, am I on?
That would have been oh god, maybe.
No. I can imagine.
Maybe not
maybe because it's like the romantic
maybe not.
Not opposite like a 14, 15 year old.
That would have been
it's a little bit awkward. People talk.
Concerning, yes.
But yes. So
just had that story. No,
we can't share the story we were just talking. No, that sounds really bad then. Like that sounds awful. Like that lead in. No. We had a story, I'm not going to tell you the story, we had a story which was amusing, but linked horribly to that. I promise you, I am, Anyway.
We can just cut this.
I'm going to have to cut this.
Just cut that bit, it's fine, nobody needs to know anything about that.
Oh my god.
Anyway, Alfie, welcome.
Thank you very much.
So good. To have you here again. So today's topic of the week.
Yes.
Topic of the week. No.
I thought we swapped roles then. That was
wow.
really.
I couldn't. I felt physically sick when I nearly sung.
I felt in the upside down.
Yeah. We're talking about drama and education. So you are currently at college.
I am.
So you've done the GCSE bit.
Done it. Ticked.
And now doing BTEC.
Yes. The extended diploma for year 2.
Okay. And is that musical theatre or?
Musical theatre.
Musical theatre,
yes.
Fantastic. And you're at the point of thinking about what next, where next.
Yes, exactly.
So let's wind the clock back.
Of course. What?
Why is there a cat? Remembering that people listen to this and think, where's the cat?
The cat was winding the clock back. I think
Fair.
we're fine.
Yeah.
Why did you choose GCSE drama and how was it?
Well, I initially, it's a funny story, for the first the first term of GCSEs, I didn't do drama. So I chose music and I hated it.
Okay.
I chose the wrong idea and I didn't want to do drama purely because I didn't want my friends to judge me, which is stupid. Don't ever do that. Please don't, because it was awful. Because I hated music, but I just didn't want to do drama. And then a term in, I thought, I hate this. And I switched to drama, and it was amazing. I loved my teachers so much. They were brilliant. I had Ben for a small period of time helping me with
Which is why I was pleased you said you loved your teachers.
my component one. But luckily, I lucked out because I made it just in time. We got into lockdown just as we started written work. So we did it as we did all the practical exams first. The first in the country, I think, from our component 2. We did it in January, which was super early. And just as we were starting written work, lockdown, and I was like, yes. I didn't like that. But it was the best.
Because we were just talking that it's actually, it's quite a slant.
Weighted.
It's weighted more to the written stuff.
It is,
Some of the
more
drama
so than I
pieces.
thought.
Yeah.
Yeah, we were saying the written is more heavily weighted than the practical.
So you are
which is...
literally a jammy bastard.
Are we going to have to edit all of this out? I'm going to include that little thing that says swearing involved.
A jammy git.
A jammy git.
Jammy
Yeah, maybe don't call our guests bastards.
Okay. All right, fair enough.
It doesn't usually welcome them to the.
Okay, now you
fold.
said it as well, though.
I know, but I said it
in a quote.
Okay. If we did that, are we allowed to say
No, because it's a podcast and they can't see that.
Okay.
They can't see air quotes. Anyway, never mind. Moving very swiftly on.
And so then, what's the BTEC been like? Is that what's the balance of written and practical?
A lot more practical based. So we have in our course we have 3 projects. It was odd because we were online for a lot of it, but our first project was a show called Memphis, and we did like a sneak bit, like a small portion of that, like a rundown version, like a 40-minute version, and then coursework to support it is the written work.
Mm-hmm.
So you research all the background into the characters, into the time periods, social, political events that were going on. So it's less about practitioners that you research and more to support the performance.
Okay,
So it's more real based,
yeah.
so it affects the actual performance. And then we did Grease online, which was horrific. I hated it. It was awful. I'm
Hopefully
sorry.
nobody's listening from the.
Well, everyone knows. I mean,
Okay.
our teachers know that it was.
Made no secret.
They also didn't really enjoy it, if I'm honest.
Fair enough.
But it was an odd thing because we sort of had to do it all on our own, but still with all the written work involved. And then we did a show called A Super Happy Show about feeling super sad, which was like it's interesting. It's an actor muso piece. So we all played instruments as well, which I think was really cool.
You characterised yourself as an instrument, or you played?
We played the instruments for the songs.
I had a starring role as a violin.
I am a cello.
Yes.
What did you play?
I played because I've been playing guitar for quite a while, so I played guitar.
Cool.
I tried to play drums as well because I'm quite high grade in drums, but they couldn't get a drum kit, so I ended up playing the cajon.
The what?
The cajon.
Oh, that's
like a box that you sit on.
box
Yeah,
you sit
it's
on.
nothing like the drum kit at all.
No, they're very different.
But it's good. I think it makes more opportunities for like practical wise as well, because as well the lessons at college are purely just focusing on your skills. So now I have like tomorrow, for instance, I have ballet, then jazz, and then singing. So it's a lot more practical work than GCSE drama.
Yeah.
And is that one of the reasons you chose like a BTEC rather than the A-level course?
God, yes, 100%. I could not bear with doing sitting down and doing an exam anymore. I did not want to do that at all.
Of course, obviously, the other thing if you pick an A-level is you then have to pick other A-levels.
Yeah.
So then you have to do other subjects. Not, whereas when you do your BTEC at college, that is it, isn't it? That is your. I mean, there's different obviously components and there's different, like you say, dance and singing and stuff. But it's got a more of a.
100%.
It's sort of you know what your day is going to be, don't you? You ain't going to do some science halfway through.
God no.
So what happens next in the world of Alfie?
Well, I'll be auditioning very soon for drama schools because that's where I hope to go. Now I've done my 2 years of college, well, almost done. Hopefully we're going to be auditioning soon for drama schools, ideally in London. So this October, October the 25th to the 27th, I'm heading down to London for 3 days to go to ArtsEd and do like a pre-audition course, which is like we take in a legit song and a contemporary song and 2 monologues, and we show it to them, and I guess they just tell us, give us feedback really, and help us in the audition stuff. So that's exciting. And then if I'm not going to go into drama school next year, I'll head back to Stratford for a foundation course, and then audition from that point forward. But all auditioning for Alfie this
Busy
time.
auditioning.
Yes.
Which is,
100%.
it's always such a lot, isn't it, when you've got that, plus finishing whatever studies you're currently on.
Yeah.
It's such a lot to try and fit in and focus on, right? So I always think it's such a busy,
Yeah.
you know, it's including, same with people applying to like universities and going through the UCAS process and going to interviews and stuff. Actually, that stress and that, as well as going, right, now you need to get the grades, and things like that. It's such a huge amount of pressure that people don't appreciate, I think, sometimes. What else in terms of like school life or college life and stuff? What I'm trying to think why I'm wording this question. What sort of other things do you get from it apart from like the education itself? Obviously, often involved is things like extracurriculum stuff. You know, obviously school shows and things like that. There's different in terms of friendships and stuff. What else do you feel like you get from studying drama?
Wow.
I know, heavy question.
Well, it's a good question, I think. Well, in terms of friendships, you meet a lot of like-minded people. So a lot of people who do drama at GCSE not necessarily are going to go and purely do acting. They're going to, you know, so I find a lot of the people who do drama at GCSE are quite bright in like English and stuff. So they'll stay back at A-levels and stuff. But in college and studying purely drama, you meet a lot of like-minded people who just want to go, and it's weird talking about like drama schools and auditions, because you never did that here at like secondary school, because no one really had the same sort of thoughts. So that definitely, I also feel
It frees you up to be yourself a bit more.
Yeah, you can speak about what you want to do more. It's not sort of like I feel a bit, because not many people really know what I'm talking about if I'm on about ArtsEd, Mountain View, whatnot. It's good because it's like like-minded people, and also I feel like studying it purely it's improved me a lot as a performer, I can say, hopefully at least, because just doing it 4 days a week in college, but I mean at home still practicing the stuff that they give you at college, and it's definitely, if you want to do it, then 100% do it, because you will improve so much. And even though it's just a 2-year course at college, it's immense, and it will definitely improve you so much. That's what I found anyway.
Doing it every day, isn't it?
Yeah, it's literally rinse and repeat, and it's amazing.
Just going back to what you said earlier, because I think it's interesting, and I've talked about this a lot. I can't remember if I talked about it on the podcast, but I talk about it a lot. Is about not doing drama at first because you're worried about what other people are going to say, which I think is an issue with boys doing drama in general, which I think I'm hoping in certain areas is becoming less of a thing. Like I know, like when I went to school, we did a BTEC course. They ran a BTEC course, and there were 12 people on the course, and 11 of them were boys, and 1 was a girl, and it was sort of and I'm not including myself in this, but it was the popular boys who did like, and drama was like, they did that over like PE, which is the sort of stereotypical one. You know, do you think that's sort of changing more now in terms of more boys doing drama and feeling more comfortable? Do you think there's still, how do you sort of see it as a sort of still a student essentially? Yeah,
well, I mean, I personally just felt, because I know a lot of like the popular kids do drama, and it's not like an unheard of thing, but in my school none of the sort of popular kids did it really, so I couldn't really speak about it with people who I was really friends with at the time. So for me it was a bit more of like a secret thing that I like a guilty pleasure, if you will, like that I just sort of couldn't really speak out about it. But I really hope that it's becoming more of a normal thing, and I'm seeing a lot more like boys in like the Amdram community and up and coming like younger as well. Also because locally speaking as well, we've got so many like role models who have gone off and are now proving to, you know, you can do this from a place like Banbury, and it's really inspiring a lot of people who maybe like me sort of like, oh, I don't really want to speak about this, and like, who the hell cares, you know, this is what I want to do,
exactly,
and I'm going to do it good.
I always find it odd. I had this conversation with my colleague the other day, in that it's like, then you will speak to some of these people who might say, oh, you know, oh, boys don't do drama, and then you go, okay, what are you doing this weekend? Oh, I'm going to go and watch that new Marvel film. Right, you mean the one with the male actors, the one with the really good-looking, really rich male actors who have like amazing-looking wives? You mean them? You mean them? You think that is always just confused? It's like drama's not. Yeah, it's just such a weird sort of assumption.
Yeah, there's people like they say like theatre as well. It's different with theatre. It's like Tom Hiddleston, he plays Loki. He's also in the National Theatre.
Yeah.
Like he's doing like Shakespeare and stuff, and they're like, well, that's stupid. And they're like, well, you're watching him on TV. Yeah. Might as well.
Well, Tom Holland, who's Spider-Man, has got his start in like Billy Elliot.
Yeah.
You know, he was dancing, doing ballet. Funnily enough, a show all about that sort of stereotype, isn't it? And now he's, you know, one of the most well-known, you know, young actors in the world, essentially. It's amazing. But,
I think it's an interesting one though if you're the female persuasion, because actually there's an additional challenge there of
too many,
and actually the level you have to be at to stand out is huge, especially at a really young age. So whereas I think, you know, for boys there's often that, oh good, they're not home, that we can shape them. The girls are, you know, they'll look across a room in an audition and somebody's bending over backwards and triple flipping and you know, and someone else is belting out a number at the top of their voice, and it must be, you know, as tough but in a different way to overcome
it's so
that.
true.
So that, you know, I didn't ever have a go at it because I was never brave enough. So I actually think there's some of that as well. There's the braveness to say I'm a boy and I want to do it, and then there's the real braveness to say, actually I really want this, I'm going to have a go at it from a female point of view because there's so many girls that want to have a go at it.
100%,
and it's so true in terms of amateur theatre. Yeah, that's so true. It's there's more competition essentially. So yeah, it's interesting. It's a challenging thing to do, isn't it? But I suppose those challenges, unfortunately, a lot of those challenges, or some of those challenges, are reflected in the professional world. So the people that want to go into the professional industry, actually, whilst you're getting those knockbacks and stuff at this level, you get used to it and hopefully build that sort of thick skin that you do need in the industry.
The best advice I ever got was being an actor is a lot like being bulletproof, and you know, making sure you get used to the rejection because it's going to happen, and making sure don't think that it's not because you're good enough. It's not because you're not good enough, sorry. Because it's never going to be that. It's just maybe they're looking for something different or something like that. But never put yourself down because of rejection. Just be bulletproof, and it's just it's the way of the business, really.
Exactly. And you get those rejections for many reasons, don't you?
Yeah.
You know,
I mean, mostly I get rejections just all the time.
Yeah.
No.
You get given the male roles.
Yeah. Oh, you grow a beard? Yeah. Okay.
Yes, I'll be a sheriff. So just to finish off, go on.
No, I was going to say that is why I never go for the female part, because actually
because you know you're smashing the male role.
If you go in and try and get a female part and don't get it, it's more like them saying, oh no, you can't do that. And whereas if I go in and go for a male part and then I don't get it, it's like, oh, that's because I went for a male part. Yeah.
Oh right, fair
enough. Wow.
And then if you get it, it's
like I don't use that.
Twisted logic.
If you get it, it's like you're more of a bloke than.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Fair enough. Just to round up then, obviously we're currently rehearsing for Robin Hood. Are you enjoying it?
I am, yes, of course.
Doing panto again?
Yes.
We're doing a pantomime.
First panto, actually.
Is it your first panto?
Because I watched Snow White.
You did watch Snow White, I remember you watched
Sammy Dean was sat in front of me, she was like, it's you next year, and then...
There you are.
A couple of years later, we're there. Good, well that's in January, so that's going to be super, super exciting. So if you come see all three of us in pantomime in January, tickets on sale now at the Aberset Theatre Company website.
Oh, nice push.
A little bit of a plug while we've got them here. Why not? Come and see this live.
Why wouldn't you?
Why not?
Should we do the podcast tour live?
The podcast tour?
Well, you just said come and see this live.
What,
it's like,
Treading the Boards?
wants to come and see this live.
Where they come and just watch us talk rubbish. Yeah, probably. But anyway, thank you very much for joining us, Alfie.
First guest in season 3.
Season 3.
Episode 1, first guest.
Yeah, good luck with all your drama school auditions and the process and the workshops.
Yes. And the BTEC.
And just live. Good luck at live.
Thank you.
We'll probably see you again, as in person. Probably as we stop the camera.
Yeah.
But Join us next time with other guests and etc.
stuff.
Nice to be back. We've got to dance out.
Good dance out. Here we
Ready
go.
and go!
Woo! Bye!